Welcome to the Wisdom Inspired Talk podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I am Yomi Akipelu, your wisdom coach, speaker, teacher, and author of Blow the Cap Off Your Capability and other books. In this podcast, we will learn from the wisdom of wise men and women from ancient and contemporary times. We will glean wisdom from books, biographies, teachings, quotes, and sayings of sages through the ages. So, let's dive right in. Today, we'll be speaking about what matters most. Why am I here? What matters most? These are soul-searching questions which have been asked throughout the ages by sages and simpletons alike. God implants this desire to feel real love in humanity. This hole in my soul is common to all human beings. It's not a design flaw or glitch. It's God implanted. It's part of the manufacturer's design. It cannot be filled by fame, wealth, success, sex, or drugs. It is a God-shaped hole. It is a spiritual hunger and thirst. I recently bought a new HP printer after my old faithful printer gave up the ghost. I think the old printer had been a brand of HP in its former life. The new printer was wireless, smart, and enviable. The manufacturer warned that only the original HP ink cartridge should be used, not a compatible cartridge, because the original one had perhaps a code, a chip, or sensor, which is recognized by their printer, but which will be missing on a compatible ink cartridge, and so might not print at all or might malfunction. That kind of reminded me that the God-shaped hole we all have cannot be filled by a substitute. It can only be filled by God, our Maker, our Creator. St. Augustine said, "Thou hast formed us for thyself, and our hearts are restless till they find rest in thee." Billy Graham, the well-known evangelist, died on the 21st of February 2018 at the age of 99. In 1934, at the age of 16, he had heard God's call and became a faithful messenger of the gospel. He spoke about Jesus to over 210 million people in person and to almost half the population of the world on TV or radio. As a messenger of God, he had planned his own funeral very carefully to be a call for people to put their faith in Jesus. He had said beforehand, "Someday you will read or hear that Billy Graham is dead. Don't you believe a word of it. I shall be more alive than I am now. I will just have changed my address. I will have gone into the presence of God." He was determined to make the most of every opportunity, including his own funeral, to pass on God's message to the world. Nicholas Glynn Paul Gumbel, born 1955, was educated at Eton College. He studied law at Cambridge. After graduating from university, Gumbel followed in his father's footsteps and became a practicing barrister. At the age of 18, Nicky Gumbel set out to read the entire New Testament in order to disprove Christianity. Here is an account of his own experience, in his own words. "As I read, I was surprised to find that I became convinced that it was true. The last thing that I wanted to do was to become a Christian. I thought that would ruin my life and make it boring by stopping me having any fun. Yet, knowing in my heart that it was true, I felt I had no option but to say yes to Jesus. The moment I did so, to use the words of C.S. Lewis, I was surprised by joy. Ever since, Jesus has never ceased to surprise me." Nicky Gumbel is the developer of the well-known Alpha course, a basic introduction to Christianity supported by churches of many Christian traditions. Since 2005, He has been the vicar of Holy Trinity, Brompton, London, UK. Someone once said, the way to find yourself is to seek God. There is a phrase that we often hear, which goes something like this: there is something missing. These words mostly come from those who, at least at first glance, seem to have it all together. They are wealthy, in good health, they have a great family, they drive nice cars, and have a great future ahead of them. Yet deep down, there is a restless voice that gnaws at them about the emptiness in their souls. This profound emptiness, put quite simply, is a deep longing for God. At the center of our hearts, beneath all the other desires and yearnings, there exists this persistent and intense longing to know God. We should not be surprised, for we have been made by God for love and to love. We are divinely designed for God's love. God has made us for Himself, and as St. Augustine said, our hearts will always be restless until they find their rest in Him. This deepest longing is our train ticket to the way home. There are a lot of very intelligent people in this world who do not believe in God or the gospel of Jesus Christ. The reason for this might be that they have decided that the criterion for them to believe anything at all should be that it must make sense to them. It must be able to be verified in some way by reason based on empirical evidence apart from faith in biblical revelation. For some others, the problem of why a benevolent God allows evil in the world is a great stumbling block. In your search for the truth, perhaps you could begin with C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia. I recommend it for several reasons. First, C.S. Lewis had been an atheist and might therefore be able to answer your questions and objections. Secondly, for the intellectuals, C.S. Lewis was a man who had graduated from Oxford with triple first-class honors in classics, philosophy, and English, and was one of the greatest British academics of his generation. If he made the journey from atheism to Christianity, then it is logical to assume that you don't have to suspend your brain in order to believe in God. Thirdly, you couldn't accuse C.S. Lewis of being superficial or shallow about suffering, having lost his mother at the age of 10, being unhappy at school, and then gone on to experience the horrors of trench warfare during the First World War. He was obviously only too aware of the problem of evil. His discussions of these issues are certainly illuminating in his books. If you read C.S. Lewis's three most important books, Mere Christianity, Miracles, and The Problem of Pain. The Problem of Pain is a book he wrote in 1940 on the problem of evil, in which C.S. Lewis argues that the human pain, animal pain, and hell are not sufficient reasons to reject belief in a good and powerful God. Perhaps like Clive Staples Lewis, you also will discover intelligent and convincing answers to all your doubts. We need the message of the cross because it is revelation from the Creator of all things on how to get into proper relationship with Him. For those who accept the message by faith, it is the power of God to salvation. God is not mad at you. He is mad about you. When you get serious about finding God and want Him more than anything else, God will reveal Himself and will make sure you are not disappointed. There is nothing, absolutely nothing more important than developing a friendship with God. It's a relationship that will last for eternity. God not only loves you as you are, but He also knows you as you are, yet He loves you. Because of this, you need only come as you are. No artificial religious cosmetics can make you presentable to Him. You can simply come as you are. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who say to God, "Thy will be done," and those to whom God says, "All right then, Have it your way. Be one of the former. Do not let the theme song of your life be, I did it my way. And that is all for today. Until next time, keep on growing in wisdom and maturity. Blow the cap off your capability. Be unstoppable. Be awesome. I'm cheering you on.